Hello everybody, welcome to the Wrestling Guardians podcast, and this is our review of AEW's All Out 2021. Pretty potentially a very historic show for wrestling in general, and it'd be really interesting to see where things go after this. But I thought probably it'd be best then here just to kind of introduce the channel a little bit. Maybe there's some people who might have sort of stumbled across this channel for the first time. I think it's fair to say that we're not the biggest AEW fans of all time. I think if people kind of watched our previous videos or whatever, they'd kind of know that we've got a lot of issues with the AEW product. We like to refer to them as all elite gymnastics, which kind of sums up a lot of our frustrations with the product. But I mean, personally, I've got quite a few positive things to say about All Out. I think it was a pretty decent show, but I just wanted to kind of make it clear that we're definitely not AEW marks. I think that's fair to say, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly not. Dan, we're definitely not AEW marks, and while we will make fun of the product at times, we'll do our best to give you an objective review.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, like I said, definitely some, still some issues with the kind of overall feel of the show, and there's certain matches. One match in particular that we'll get to in a minute that I thought was just the drizzling shits, to be honest. But the rest of the show, there was some pretty decent things to mention here. I mean, I guess, starting from the very start, with the opener, Miro taking on Kingston. First thing I wanted to mention, actually, is that I think that AEW have finally managed to do a really good job with Miro. I think he looks fantastic. Like, he looks like a champion. He looks like the kind of dude that you'd expect in a wrestling ring. And I'm happy that he's moved away from some of the more kind of goofy stuff that he was doing when he first joined the company. That whole kind of best man storyline I just really didn't go for, and I'm glad that they've just gone down this road now of basically just making him a bit of a powerhouse. Do you share that view? I mean, do you like some of the more comical stuff that Miro does, or do you prefer him as this kind of kick-ass guy?
Oh, Dan, I absolutely prefer him as more of the kick-ass guy, and I think it just works so much better than the best man shtick. But he's not just a kick-ass guy; he's a kick-ass guy who's got charisma and personality, and that, in my opinion, puts him over the top and makes him a really, really high-level performer.
Yeah, I mean, we saw examples of it in WWE when, like with the whole Rusev Day thing, and I suppose he tried to show beyond what the WWE creative team were willing to do with him. He was trying to show some of his more light-hearted, more kind of humorous personality, and it got him over to an extent. And I suppose obviously WWE just weren't willing to go the whole way with him. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the future holds for Miro in AEW, but at the minute, I think this is the perfect kind of character for him, the perfect kind of way of presenting him. I thought the match was really good, but I'm a pretty decent fan of Kingston as well. And yeah, just a decent way to kind of open with a TNT championship. And I didn't really expect Miro to lose it or anything, but they kind of caught my interest to enough of an extent where I was pretty satisfied with it. Is this a decent opener for you? I mean, I singles matches to open pay-per-views, sometimes they can fall a little bit flat, I suppose, but I think this one was pretty good, no?
Yeah, I quite like this match, Dan, and the story of the match basically was that Miro was almost stretched to his limits to sort of win this match, and he had to resort to the underhand tactics to come away with the win. So I quite liked it. Kingston played the babyface fighting from underneath really well too. And I think Miro needs to have a long run with the title, and I'm not sure he's ready to take a loss yet. But there is a world in which Eddie Kingston beating the dominant Miro in his hometown at like Arthur Ashe Stadium would have just been like an incredible moment.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you like? How far would you want to go with Eddie Kingston if you were like part of the creative team? Like, is he? Because I kind of feel like he works really well as like that, the babyface fighting underneath, and I think he's really effective at doing that. He clearly can get the fans on his side, and obviously a lot of people like him. Do you see him as a like a world championship contender or somebody maybe kind of a bit higher up in the card? Or
Dan, I think he's a solid upper mid card guy. I think I think he can. I think that's his ceiling the way I see it now, at least. I mean, he could prove me wrong. I mean, he's got charisma and everything, but I'm not ready to buy him as like a main eventer just yet.
yeah, there's something about him. I haven't fully made up my mind about Eddie Kingston. Like in a way, he's maybe a little bit of a throwback to like some of those like babyface stars you'd see, like way back in the day, like in the territories or whatever. But then he definitely kind of embodies this sort of new way, at least, quote unquote, kind of indie approach to professional wrestling, where he's still a little bit kind of rough around the edges. And I don't see him personally as World Championship material yet, but and I know he's no spring chicken. Let's be honest. So I suppose a bit more of a utility guy. Put him against the right opponent, and he can be very effective, I guess.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you, Dan. That seems to be his ceiling for now, but they all, you like Miro winning, like the crowd will always get behind Eddie Kingston. I think so. Eventually you can do like a big moment with him at some time. Whether that moment actually involves winning the world title, I don't know yet.
Yeah. Well, like you say, I think if they can manufacture a story where he eventually gets his hands on the TNT championship, and like that would be a moment in itself, I suppose. And yeah, I think at the minute, I think it's probably as high as I kind of want to take him. But yeah, I thought again, Miro just looked absolutely fantastic in this match. I think this is probably the most interested I've been in the Miro character since like his initial debut in WWE when he was the Bulgarian Brute with Lana and everything. Like again, I know that he has the ability to kind of go babyface and go, a bit more kind of hokey and lighthearted, but I just don't think that's where his strengths lie. So it's almost like I'm kind of happy for him to kind of forego his sort of skills as a babyface on the mic, just so I can see this kind of action in the ring. Obviously, you need to change up his character at some point. You can't keep it the same forever, but at the minute I just think he's absolutely brilliant, and I think one of the guys that ultimately WWE might really regret letting go.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think it's shaping up to be that way, where this release is coming back to bite them a little bit, because Miro is showing a lot of promise, and I really think he has all the makings of a main event heel.
Yeah. Would you say he's like at his peak at the minute?
I think so. Like you said, and this is the hottest he's been since when he first went on that run on the main roster. So I think this is as close to his peak as he's been in a long time anyway.
And I guess do you think there's a place to bring Lana or CJ Perry or whatever her name is? Do you think there's a place to bring her in as his manager, or does he not need that yet?
At the moment, I feel like he doesn't need her yet, but she could always add to his character if they do a good job with it. I was, I thought Lana was a pretty integral part of the Rusev act, like the first go around. But we've since come to find out that Rusev doesn't actually need a mouthpiece, and I beg your pardon, Miro doesn't actually need a mouthpiece, and he comes across really well in like the backstage vignettes and everything. So I'm not sure if there is a need for Lana, or CJ Perry, but I think there's a world in which it could work. What about you?
Yeah, I largely agree. I mean, I think like initially it worked really well because I suppose his initial debut WWE, we didn't fully know the extent of his mic skills, and it kind of fitted the character really well. This all conquering kind of like Russia aligned, I suppose, sort of character with this Russian mouthpiece, and it kind of worked with like the geopolitical stuff that was going on at the time, and WWE did a pretty good job of that, I think. But yeah, as time went on, we realised actually he's very capable on the mic himself. He doesn't need a mouthpiece. And I think, to be honest, like I don't know what kind of character CJ Perry would be now, but I think WWE have done their best to basically completely destroy her credibility as that sort of that dominant kind of managerial mouthpiece. I think if you tried to bring her in now and kind of relive some of those days, it just wouldn't work because we're all so accustomed to seeing them, doing TikTok dances together on Instagram or whatever. Like, the whole kind of mystique of that initial pairing is completely gone, which is a larger point about wrestling and social media and how it doesn't always help the product. So yeah, there's probably a place for us somewhere, but it's probably not going to be in the kind of managerial way, I guess. And I think there's still, there's still some popularity despite WWE's best efforts. I think the fans were still pretty behind Lana all throughout her career, and I think fans of AEW would be happy to see her again on their screen, but very in a very sort of different capacity to what we used to, I suppose.
I'm sure the AEW fan base, knowing the AEW fan base, would just be happy to see her on screen.
Well, what are you insinuating?
Anyway, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Like in a different capacity, she could do really well. But then again, whether she would work if she weren't aligned with Rusev, again, I really don't know because I've never been impressed particularly by her in-ring work or anything like that. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like God bless her. Like she, tried her best to kind of get herself over as a performer, and I think so. Like some of the better moments in her career are when she was like the obvious underdog, kind of fighting from beneath. Like there's a certain charm to that feud she had with Nia Jax. I know it was basically just week after week of being thrown for a table, but there was like something about it that kind of just got fans like on her side a little bit. But yeah, she's no in-ring performer really to speak of, but yeah, like again, another recognizable face that again I think AEW fans would be happy to see on their screen.
I'm not sure if the face is what they're interested in.
Let's move on.
Saying that, I mean, CJ Perez is very, very talented performer, but the AEW fan, that's what the AEW fan is.
Yeah, sure. Well, but again, yeah, a good opener, a good start. So I know there was a multi-man match, like dark match or whatever, but I didn't bother to watch that because I knew exactly what it was going to be. So I'm just considering this as the actual start of AEW All Out.